I had to think because I felt great. I don't know, what diagnosed for what? She said, attention deficit stuff. It's driving me insane. I said, look, if I have attention deficit, I've had it my whole life. It's not like you could catch it. Somebody doesn't sneeze on you and you walk in and go, wow, I can't think straight anymore. I don't know what happened. So why now? Out of all, I mean, we've been married at that time 30 years, so I said, why now? She said, because you promised me you'll do things and you don't do them. It's driving me nuts. I didn't have the heart to tell her that's not attention deficit, that's passive aggressive. And I've worked years to hone that skill, you know, but she was on a roll. Who am I to argue with her? So I went to the doctor and I spent an hour with the guy, and he says, yeah, you're definitely, you have the symptoms, and we should maybe try you on Adderall. So I asked, what's Adderall? He said, well, it's an amphetamine. So, of course, I dropped the Legos that I was playing with, because based on my history with amphetamines, you know, sure, what can go wrong with that? You know, 2 days into it, crushing them up and snorting them up my nostrils, you know. Yeah, so I don't even get attention deficit. I really don't. I think these pharmaceutical, honestly, I think the pharmaceutical companies just make stuff up. I really do. I think they sit around in a room and somebody comes in, we need something. We got to sell some stuff. And some guy comes in with the coffee and go, hey, what's with the leg? I don't know, it's been kind of restless lately. You know? Oh. Marketing, can you use the restless leg thing? If you put the word syndrome or disorder after it, it sounds serious. But how do you measure attention? I mean, really, how do you put a measurement on attention? Don't you, I mean, quantify it? I mean, don't you have to know what full attention is before you can figure out what a deficit of that is? And in my lifetime, I've been around fully attentive people, and trust me, they're frightening people. They really are. They're, got some guy glaring at you for 20 minutes. You know, Louie, blink, you're frightening people, huh? We used to call them cocaine addicts. I don't know what you call them, but very focused people. But I've always been this way. I really was. If it exists, I've had it. I mean, at grade school, we didn't. In the America I grew up in, we didn't have a name for it. We really didn't. I was an obnoxious little punk. That's what I was. So I was OLP, not ADD. You know. My third grade teacher, Miss Stokesbury, headbutted me. That's right. In the America we grew up in, punishment was a little different. The poor woman was so frustrated with me. She had me against the locker. She was shaking me. She was overweight. Her cheeks were vibrating like Jell-O. To a 9-year-old boy, that's funny. I just couldn't stop laughing at it. You know. And she'd finally had it. Laugh at me, you obnoxious little punk. Bam. She headbutts me. And then I said, you stop vibrating, Gelator, I'll stop laughing, which apparently was the wrong thing to say to Miss Stokesbury. Jello, what? Bam. You know. And again, in the America we grew up, you could not go home and tell your parents you got headbutted by your teacher. Because in my day, parents punished first and then asked questions later. I got headbutted. Why? So, I should also mention I'm a functioning hypochondriac. I'm not clinical. I function. And this is how God protects his children. It's my ADHD that keeps my hypochondria manageable. Really. On those days, I've convinced myself I need an ambulance. By the time I get to the phone to call one, I've been distracted 4 or 5 times. So I do wind up in the kitchen. I got the telephone, but I can't remember why I got the telephone. And that's when I order our pizza. My kids love me. Dad's dying. Really? Pepperoni this time. Come on. And Tammy mocks, my wife mocks me. We'll be watching Discovery Channel on some new disease they've discovered, like restless leg. I don't even know what that is. Anyway. But 4 minutes into it, Tammy will lean over. So you got it yet? You know, thinking about it. What's a nodule? I could have nodules because I don't even know what a nodule is, and whoa, I'm feeling noduley all of a sudden. I need a phone. When the kids are yelling, breadsticks, shut up, I could die. I'm better, I'm getting better. The one time, I gotta tell you this was a number of years ago, but I'm walking around for a while going, babe, I don't know, something's wrong. I go, what arm is it when you when you're having a heart attack? What arm is it? And Tammy says, the right arm. And I go, well, that's the right arm. She goes, it's the left arm, you moron. You know, I go, what, do you set me up? I go, I don't know. Both arms are numb. So after about a half hour of walking around complaining about chest things and stuff, Tammy goes, get in the car. I go, what do you mean? She says, I'm taking you to the emergency room. Now I'm scared because she always talks me off the ledge. I mean, she really does. Oh, get over it. You'll be fine. You know, and this time she says, I'm taking you. Let's go. And I get in the car and we're driving to the emergency room. And I'm not even exaggerating. We get there and she says, I'll be back in an hour. What do you mean you'll be back? I'm going to the emergency room for chest pains. She says, well, Marshall's has a sale and I'm going to head over there. I'm not lying. So I get in the emergency room, and trust me, I'm the reason you do not want socialized medicine, all right? I'm the reason. It's free. Check me for a tsetse fly bite. Just want to know if I got bit by one. So I'm sitting there for whatever, and the doctor comes in. I go, you know what? I think I made a mistake. I'm fine. He goes, well, let me understand this, just so we're on the same page. You come into my emergency room complaining of chest pains, and you think I'm going to send you home? You're here for the long haul, pal. So Tammy shows up. I'm on a treadmill, dripping sweat, because I had nothing else to do. So I'm just walking the treadmill. She comes in with like bags from Marshall's. How's my boy doing? He goes, he'll outlive us all. So just thought I'd share that with you. So I turned 60 3 years ago, had a physical, and my doctor, same doctor for 20 years, knows not to call me. He calls Tammy to give the results. Well, he doesn't, his nurse calls. So Tammy's on the phone for a few minutes with the nurse. She's making notes. Okay, thanks, I'll tell him. So she hangs up. I go, what did they say? And she said, well, I'll summarize it for you. If you were part of a wildebeest herd, the lions would be circling you. I go, what does that even mean? He goes, you're a walking time bomb. They wanted to know if you did anything aerobically. I said, I do aerobic stuff. She goes, what? I said, golf. She says, golf? You golf in a cart. I said, yeah, but I got to get out and walk. I'm not driving by slapping the ball like polo. I'm not driving the cart onto the green and leaning over and putting it into the hole. So then she goes out and buys me a Fitbit for no other reason than to show me how little I move. That was the whole point. In Fitbit, I'm not kidding. They monitor my entire life. They send me text messages on how many times I get up in the middle of the night. They monitor my sleep habits. Apparently I wasn't giving up enough of my privacy to Apple, Google, and the government. I mean, really, you were up 5 times last night, Jeff. Why are you so restless? Well, Brad and Angelina split up. Who can sleep? And then I'm watching Golf Channel, 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Fitbit sends me a text message. Are you dead? You've taken 78 steps in 4 hours. Most of that was because my foot fell asleep and then I was banging it on the floor. Leave me alone. And then Tammy goes out and buys a Fitbit. Now, I didn't know this, but she signs on to be my friend on the computers, which means she can monitor my Fitbit. Right. And then she caught me in a lie. I admit it. I lied to my wife, okay? I'm telling you. If you've been married more than a week, you know there's conversations you just don't want to have with your wife. You can do the whole thing in your mind before you even say a word. I'm going to say this, she's going to say that, she's going to say, I'm going to say this, she's going to say that. Next thing you know, we're going to be fighting with each other. I don't want to fight with her. I'm just going to lie. That's between me and my Savior. And now you 300 people. So I'm in a hotel room, 1 in the afternoon. I admit it, I've never left the hotel. And then she calls and she says, so what'd you do today? And I again, quickly through the, if I say nothing, I'm going to hear, you're going to leave me a widow, you're going to die, that doctor says your heart's going to blow up, you need to move, you got to blah, blah, blah. So I lied. I said, well, I got up early and I walked the mall. And Tammy says, short mall, you've taken 91 steps all day. I go, how do you even know that? She goes, I'm online looking at it, I'm your friend. I go, well, not anymore, you're not. If you want to have some fun with your wife, unfriend her from all your social media. That won't cause any problems. But I did learn something that day. 4 trips to the commode at a Holiday Inn Express, 91 steps. Yeah. Every day's a learning day. So 2 weeks after the doctor told me my heart was going to explode if I didn't move, Tammy comes downstairs and says, I was thinking. That's what she says to me, I was thinking. Well, every married man in this room knows when your wife says, I was thinking, all the air in your body goes right out. Because what she was thinking about is something she's going to want you to do. You're not going to want to do it. But I've been married 33 years. I ain't a man anymore anyway. So. Oh, please. All I ever say was, really, what was you thinking about, Buttercup? I was thinking about what the doctor said. That's what she said to me, that we need to do something aerobically. And I said, I don't think he said we, I think he said me. And she says, no, I think we should do something together that's fun. And I said, what'd you have in mind? And she says, I've always wanted to take up skiing. Always. Now, at this point, we've been married 30 years, which means we've watched 7 Winter Olympics together. We never missed the Olympics. 7 Winter Olympics, and not once while they were zipping down the slopes did my bride lean over and go, wow, I would love to learn how to do that. I've always wanted to ski. So I'm thinking, I'm not taking up the sport that killed Sonny Bono at my age. I know what's going on. You want me dead, you can poison me like other wives. At least I get a meal out of it. I tried skiing in my 20s when I was coordinated. I got knocked unconscious by the chairlift. Yeah. What more sign from God do you need? And if that wasn't humiliating enough, the insurance company would not cover my head injury. The guy called me up at home. He says, let me understand this. You got hit in the head with a chairlift. I said, yes, sir. He goes, wow, that makes you a moron. And we consider that a pre-existing condition. Whoa. They had me. It was a loophole. I couldn't get around. So for my 60th birthday, my wife gets me, and I got to tell you, 3 years ago I was 30 pounds heavier. I mean, she bought me 12 hours with a personal trainer at the YMCA named Todd. Hi, Jeff, I'm 2% body fat Todd. Well, hello, 2%. I'm 80% flabby Jeff. How you doing? Loaded with questions. First question he asked me, how long has it been since I had an exercise program? Well, I have to ponder that, Todd. It'll be a while. It's been a while. Let me think. I'm 60, so that would be, well, 60 years, 9 months. Didn't really take me as long as I thought to put that math together. You know, yeah, it's been that long. I said, look, I'll be honest with you. I haven't moved with any purpose since I won the race at conception. Yeah. I was zipping that day, boy. I really was. I outran about 4 billion that morning, so still exhausted. So. Undaunted by my reply, Todd says, well, we'll start you out slow. So I slept with ankle weights on for a couple of months. That fit my restless leg syndrome. I moved, you know. And if you have restless leg, don't send me an email. I'm sure somebody does, and it's a pain, but I just think it's witty. I'm sorry. Well, we don't exercise if you think about exercise. If you think about where we gain weight as people, as human beings, our stomachs and our behinds, they can get pretty large and really not be in our way. I just think a couple pounds on your forehead would get you to the gym, you know. That's all it would take, you know, man, whoo! I can't see nothing. People laughing, you want a donut? No, it goes right to my skull. Look at this. I can't eat another thing until I get this taken care of. They're gonna take my license. I don't understand the obsession with weight. Weight to me is a number. That's it. It's a number. Everybody has a number when they stand on the scale that makes them feel good. It's a esteem thing. As long as you know what your number is, you stand on it, you see it, you're fine. So why just buy a digital scale, one of those that the number gradually builds up to your correct weight, which means you can jump off any time. You get to your number, get off the scale. That's all I'm weighing this month. Yeah. I may not look like it, honey, but I lost 35 pounds last night. Yeah. And Tammy's dieting. She's dieting keto, dieting, which means I'm dieting, because that's the rules. She does the shopping. So she came home with rice cakes, which I've never seen a rice cake, never bitten in a rice cake, never eaten a rice cake. I don't know what a rice cake is. And I hold them up and I go, and I put the groceries away and I'm looking and I'm going, what is this? And she said, because I saw cake on there and I know cake isn't part of keto. So I said, I thought we were on the keto thing. She said, well, that's for our cheat day. Rice cakes for the cheat day. And I thought, okay, because again, I don't know. So a couple days go by and anyway, I'm looking for something. I get sugar cravings and I get this craving and I'm looking and I remember we have rice cakes. So I'm thinking, this is good. So I go into the pantry, I pull them out, and I open up the bag, and I pull one out, and I feel it, and I go, it's odd. It has the texture of a brake pad. But it's cake. So I took a bite. I'm not lying. It never made it to my throat. I went, phew, man, baby, these are stale. She says, no, that's the way they are. I go, then it isn't cake, it's caulk. Who are these people kidding? This isn't food, it's insulation. They should be sued. I gave them to the dog. I just threw the whole thing on the floor, all 8 of them on the floor. I go, here, knock yourself out. They lapped them up, both dogs just lapped them up. An hour later, went in my yard and passed a thermos. That's all you need to know. But the doctor told me I had to change my diet, I had to change all this stuff and everything, and it's like I can't keep up. Non-GMO, GMO, organic, gluten, non-gluten, kale. Where did kale? You can't put enough ranch dressing on kale to make it taste good. The America I grew up in, we had food. That's what we had, food. And you ate it because kids were starving in China. That's all you knew. Why would I eat this? I don't like it. Because somebody's starving on the other side of the planet. All right. But now it's all labels and things, and I read the things and the calories and the fat content, and some diets and this, and I don't know. My son married a Minnesota granola cruncher. I love her to death, but we got a long list of things we're not allowed. We should be allowed to give our granddaughters anything they will put in their mouth to eat. And I don't care, cinnamon, Cinnabons, large, salt, sugar, whatever. We should just be able to put a salt lick on the table and cover it with caramel. Here you go, baby girl, knock yourself out. But we got a list of things we're not allowed to feed. They've convinced my granddaughter that sugar will kill her. So anyway, she comes over. She's 5 years old. She says, Mimi, sugar will kill you. Can I have a cookie? All right. I said, all right, a contradiction. You're on your way becoming a full-grown adult. But on the list of things we're allowed to feed our granddaughter was non-GMO, organic fruit roll-ups. I opened those up, I looked, and I went, babe, you could patch a flat bicycle tire with one of these things. Look at this. This is healthy. Anyway, my daughter-in-law says, well, they're made with real fruit. And I said, well, so is real fruit made with real fruit. And I noticed that's absent on the list. And she says, I don't trust you to buy the right kinds of fruit because of the pesticides. And I said, pesticides? You're afraid of pesticides. My mother used to give me mercury to play with on the kitchen table. Puddles of mercury. Here, Jeff, here's a puddle of toxic waste. And here's a lead paint chip. Have some fun. And then I'd take a bath, put on my asbestos pajamas, and go to bed. And look how I turned out. Now, I can't get peanuts on a Southwest flight because little Joey 5 rows back might inhale some peanut dust and drop dead. Where did all these allergies come from? Terrorists don't need to blow up any buildings. They need to take over a planter's factory and crop dust Atlanta. They'd wipe out 1/3 of the population. My father used to give my brother and I food that my sisters didn't have to eat. Called it man food. That's what he said. I'm 8 years old. He goes, that's man food. It's sardines in a can. Ugh, ugh, ugh. And I said, I'm not eating this. And he goes, it'll put hair on your chest. I'm 8 years old. That's a good thing? He goes, every man wants hair in his chest, boy. Who knew in the 21st century every American male be waxing all the hair off their chest? What sicko started this trend? And Tammy comes to me about a year ago. She goes, I want you to look into the waxing thing. So I did. I looked into it. Came back and told her, get used to the pelt. It's not going anywhere. Have we lost our minds? We pay billions as a culture to have the hair ripped out of our body by the root. And if you're not familiar with it, it hurts. It's torture. But we can't pour water on the faces of enemy combatants. I think the CIA needs to open up some spas around the world. Hey, Ahmed, my hirsute little friend. Before we send you back to the battlefield as part of the new Western Civilization Catch and Release program, the U.S. government's going to clean you up. Those 72 maidens you're dying to lay with in the next life, they don't want to lay with a throw rug, so get in the van. We're going to the mall. Woohoo! So full disclosure, I got waxed. And let me explain why. Because Tammy said to me, she said, if you got waxed, it would be sexy. And if you're married 30 years and your wife says to you, anything you do will be sexy, I'm doing it. Anything that could possibly get her motor going a little quicker. I'm not lying. She said it'll be sexy. I'm willing to do it. So I waited till she left town. I wanted to surprise her. She left town to do so. She shows dogs. So anyway, she goes off. And a couple days before she comes home, I make an appointment at the waxer, whatever they are called. I don't know. I looked, I went online. I Google, wax. And I go in. And anyway, they do the thing. They put the whatever, and they put the tape on. And I'm making this up. She goes, okay, you ready? And I go, yeah, I'm ready, man. She goes, What came out of my mouth, only dogs picked up, because nothing came out. I went, and I was tearing up, and I was going to tell her to stop, and this is why they have mirrors in there, because I looked and I saw this patch of white. It looked like a path in a pile of weeds. It just was it was not attractive, and I thought, oh no, I got to go through. I can't leave it like that, and I said, all right, just keep going. And she says, well, we can wait. And I go, no, just get it over with. So she's, I'm like, anyway, she finishes up, and I'm pink, and the whole chest is pink. I look like a big piece of bazooka bubble gum. It was just, and all I kept thinking is, she thinks this is sexy. All right, I'm in. Now she comes home the next day, and I'm still raw from the process. So anyway, I'm going to surprise her. I went into the bathroom, I took the shirt off, had some shorts on, and I come out. And it took her a couple seconds, and at one point she goes, oh, what did you do? I said, I got waxed. She said it would look sexy. She goes, man, Jeff, you look like Patrick from SpongeBob. Which I'm walking out on a limb, ladies, not sexy. When you think sexy, when you're putting that fantasy together, Patrick from SpongeBob is not coming into the film. She told me to put a shirt on because it was creepy. And then she says, the guys on Bachelor really looked a lot better with that wax thing. I said, yeah, I know. Yeah, well, anyway. So the pelt is back. And it ain't going anywhere. My granddaughter said to me the other day, she was looking at, I had nose hairs, and she goes, "What is that, Papa?" I go, "What?" She goes, like that. You know. We don't want to do that. You know. So I have 4 grandchildren. I do 6, 5, 3, and 3. And I had nothing to do with it. Thank you. But they are, by the way, if you're a young parent, everything I was told about grandchildren is true. They are your reward. They are your reward for allowing your teenagers to live on. And so you want to fight the natural urge and let those ingrates breathe, and they'll bring you bundles of joy, but years later. But you've never been sicker in your life until you spend time around little children. They go to preschool, and then they start at preschool, and they're little agar jars, petri dishes. They just, I always laugh because they want to come up with flu vaccines. Well, all you got to do is scrape the cheek of a kid that just left the American preschool, and you'd probably come up with enough cultures to inoculate half the country just off of one cheek. They're little germ magnets. They give stuff to each other. At that age, they don't know any better. Give that to your papa, And my granddaughter waits till I'm sleeping on the couch, and she just leans forward, and because of gravity, everything in her mouth is splashing on my face. It's like sleeping under this toxic rain pipe of just Kool-Aid, cookie crumbs. It's this paste of vanilla wafers and and as soon as I open an eyeball, oh, you didn't miss an orifice, Evelyn. How'd you do that? What a great shot. Is that Ebola? I haven't had that yet. And the worst is when they take a drink out of your water without telling you. They just take a sip, hand it back, you got a 6-course meal floating around the top of it. Oh, boy, I think Papa will get a new water. Water shouldn't have 40 grams of fiber in it, that's all I know. And we had a birthday for her 6th birthday. She had 6 years old. My son dropped her off in the morning before the party started because they had a bicycle for her with training wheels, and they didn't want her to see it. It's a surprise. So she's at our house. It's just Tammy, me, and the granddaughter. And I'm reading a book. She's just sitting on the couch reading, and she comes zipping down the hall. She's so excited because she's at an age now where she knows the balloons, everything is for her. It's her special day. So she comes zipping down the hall in a full sprint. "I am the birthday girl!" And then she disappeared. I couldn't see her, and I yelled at her. I said, "You're the birthday girl!" Now, I don't know if I distracted her or not, but she plowed into a wall. Oh. And I only tell you this because after the show, while I'm talking to people, they'll ask me, "What sort of stuff makes you laugh?" That would be one of them right there. That was... Sorry, but that was funny. I'm just on the couch, "You're the birthday." I got up, I tried to comfort her, but I couldn't stop laughing. I said, "Man, you were moving, baby girl." She goes, "I was moving, Papa." And when they're that age, they get that yo-yo. I don't know how they do it, but it gets this dribble that comes out, and they get about here, and they go, it's like, and sometimes it goes up this one, and it'll start coming out the other one. It's like, whoa. And then you get transfixed on the yo-yo. You're like, wow, that's fascinating. And then the bubble shoots out. You're like, you got to get your parent book out, bubble out the head. That could back up and go in her aorta, drop her right there. Bubbles are bad. So anyway, I'm trying to figure something out. Nose is running, she's crying, and I'm trying to comfort her. And then Tammy comes walking, and what happened? And she looks at Tammy and goes, "I was moving, baby. I hit the wall. I hit the wall." And Tammy looks at me, she goes, "What's the problem?" I said, "The stuff, the junk, the goop coming out of her nose. It's like, ew." And she goes, Tammy says, "You're such a wimp." And she grabs it. She just grabs it. Now she's walking down the hall berating me. I'm sick and tired. You're just such a wimp. And it was still connected to the little girl's nose. It's like, ew. And the last thing Tammy said to me as she was leaving, "You have handkerchiefs." Yeah, I got them, but who uses them? I don't get the attraction. That's the America my father grew up in, was handkerchiefs. I don't know of anybody to my age that uses I don't see the attraction of blowing your nose and then just putting it right back in your pocket. Ew, you want to hang on to this stuff, leave it in its natural environment. That's what I say. Everybody's better off for it just staying right where it's at. And my father had handkerchiefs, and I got to tell you, and our family, if you were hurt and crying and your nose was running and you saw Dad pull a handkerchief out of his pocket, you backed that snot up as fast as you could, boy. No, I'm all right, Daddy. Look, nothing coming out of here, nothing. Says, come here, boy, let me wipe that face. No, not the handkerchief, Dad, please. Then you hear him open it up. Oh, Lord, this is going to hurt. And he goes, come here, boy. Oh, that hurt! Oh. My eyebrows. They're gone. I'm a freak. My entire third grade, my mother drew my eyebrows in every morning before I went to school. For an entire school year, I looked surprised every day of my life. If I'd only known better, I could have had more fun with that, you know. We have a test today, Mom. Could you draw me a furrowed brow? Well, anyway, they're young, and they're full of joy, and we can send them back anytime we want. My son asked me one day, he goes, why are the grandkids so special, different? And I said, you want the truth? He goes, yeah. I said, when you were that age, I was too wrapped up in my life and career and trying to figure out how to feed you and clothe you. And I missed all those years that you would just come in a room full of joy. Today, I can look at those kids and I can soak it all in, soak every bit of their life in, and the joy they have, the innocence they have, all of that stuff is just part of my life right now. And then I can send them right back to you when they get crabby. It's the most beautiful thing God ever created. And believe me, there's drama with 6-year-old girls and 5-year-old girls. Wow. Yeah, anyway. You think when they get older, and it doesn't matter. By the way, if you're a young parent, and believe me, you have rough days. You will have rough days with your children. And if you haven't yet, you're lying. But you will. And if you're looking for sympathy, a little shoulder pat or thing, don't call your parents. Trust me, they don't care. They've probably prayed long and hard that your children are behaving exactly the way they are. My mother never hid it. I'd call her at 2 PM, Mom, these boys are driving me insane. She'd go, oh, thank you, Jesus. How sick is that? And then they'll outgrow it. That was another thing my mother said. No matter what my boys did, they'll outgrow it, you know. My oldest boy was a biter. He bit in preschool. So any parent who's had a child that bites, it's it's just because every time you go to a school function, they whisper behind that's the biters. Because they think you as parents, that's how you discipline. That's how the kid learned it from somewhere. Like we're just going, stop that. It's like, oh, stop it. And he would go after his little brother. Stop it, don't bite. Words. You know. He'll outgrow that. Well, you hope. My favorite one was when he was about 4, we bought him a little toolkit, plastic tools for the bathtub. And I'm walking by one day, and they had pliers. And he stands up in the bathtub. He goes, Daddy, look. And he grabs his unit, and he goes, yeah, see, every guy goes, and he did. And he went, look, Daddy, like that. Dropped me to my knees. I fell down. I go, son, you can't do that. Mommy and Daddy, we want grandchildren one day. You can't understand that right now, but you got to stop. That's got to stop, you know. So casually, I mentioned it to my mother on the phone one day, and she goes, oh, he'll outgrow that. And I go, well, I hope so. I hate to get a call from high school, your son's up on the roof with his pants down, and there appears to be a monkey wrench, and it's like, gee, we were hoping he'd outgrow all that, Ouch. You just want them to get to an age where they function as a parent, that's all. And there's never an age. There's never an age. It just drives me insane. To this day, and that's another thing I told my son about the grandkids. I said, how old are they? He said 6 and 3. And I said, for 6 years, I've never worried one day about that little girl. Not once. I have never lied awake worrying about it. To this day, I worry about you. He's 35 years old. I still worry about him. The first question I asked him, I said, what was the first question? He goes, you always ask me, how's the job? And I said, you know why I asked that question? Because I know if you lose your job, I know right where you're moving. And I'm not giving up my naked room, all right? Saw that in a movie and I made one right away. All I tell my kids is that I'm naked half the day, so it doesn't matter what happens. They just know that they just don't come in unannounced. Because they cannot unsee that. They know that, you know. You know, and yeah. But teenagers are God's revenge. I believe this. I really do. I think one day God looked down over his creation and just said, let's see how they like it to create someone of their own image who denies their existence. Because I've read the Bible and it never mentions how old Satan was when he rejected God's authority. If I'm guessing, 16. Devil got his driver's license, drove to Georgia. That's all I know. That's right. That's in the book of Daniels. So anyway. I don't know. It's puberty. That's what it is. Something happens when a child hits puberty. My oldest son went through puberty at 11 years old. I mean, in a half an hour. Not kidding. I am on the road. I call home. He's 11. Hey, Dad, how you doing? What's going on? What's happening? Called home the next night. That same kid picked up my telephone. Yo. Who are you? Put my wife on the phone and get out of my house. And they're all different. My youngest son was 6'2", 230 pounds, 13 years old. This man-child walked around our house. His voice never dropped. Honestly, how do you keep a straight face during that phase of development? He'd yell at his brother. We'd have farm animals showing up at our back porch, yelling down the hall, get out of my room. They're in my room. They're touching my stuff. Hey, dial it down. There's 2 goats on the porch asking for you, buddy. Oh, that's funny, Dad. Why don't you put that one in your stupid show? So I do. And the talk, every father in this room knows what the talk was. That's when you sit your child in a chair as a boy. He gets out of that chair, he's a man, because for the first time in his life, he hears the facts of life. This boy hears the truth. You don't hold back. You got to quit eating all the food in the house. 5 of us here, we all feel like we're in competition for the food with you. This is an American home. It is not the Serengeti. There'll be more food tomorrow. Just slow down. Save some for that little brother of yours. He's so skinny, he's falling down sewer grates. He did. Thank God he was wearing his bike helmet. He didn't fall all the way through. Those bike helmets save real lives. So glad the lawyers and the legislators gave us those bike helmet laws. You know, we'd have lost an entire generation of kids out there falling down and stuff. Oh, the humanity. I don't know. Any man in this room over 40, if you're over 40, you know this. If you would have actually showed up for a bike ride when you were 12, wearing a helmet, you would have needed the helmet to keep your head from caving in while your friends were pelting you with rocks. Hey, Dorco, what's with the plastic hand? Ching, ching. Cut it out, man. And by the way, if I see another man my age riding a bike wearing spandex, I'm running him into a ditch. In a Christian loving way, of course. And all I'm going to ask him is one question. Is there a mirror in your home at all? That's all I'm saying. Leave it at that. I grew up in America before the lawyers took it over and ruined it. In my day, If a kid fell off the monkey bars and chipped a bone in his arm, tragic as that was, it was funny to the rest of us. And that's how you learn not to do something. It hurt. It really is. C.S. Lewis said suffering was God's megaphone. I mean it. We're the most pain-averse society in the history of the world, and I'm not an advocate for pain. I'm just telling it's a part of life, and get over it, and stop wrapping our children in bubble wrap to avoid the obvious. My nephews, this poor kid's 11 years old. I look at him. Where's he going? She said rollerblading. I thought he was going to disarm a nuclear device. This poor child looked like the Michelin Man. It was just foam, rubber, plastic, you know. She said, I don't want him to get hurt out there. I said, hurt? He could take a semi at 80 miles an hour in that outfit. Falling on concrete is supposed to hurt. That's your incentive to learn to stay upright on the rollerblades. What happened to the playgrounds? I took my granddaughter to the playground. The slide is 6 feet high. I'm 6 feet tall, 6 feet high, made out of plastic, which means she'd go 4 inches and stop, 4 inches and stop, 4 inches and stop. That's not a slide, it's a scoot. She said, wee papa, wee papa, wee papa, wee. What did we have? We had a 6-story high solid steel structure that would hit a temperature in July of about 285 degrees. You'd lose 2 layers of skin on the way down, another layer when we hit the ground at 40 miles an hour like a flat rock on a pond, picking gravel out of your thigh. Man, I loved that. That was fun. Hey, when I get up there, shove me. I can go 60 miles an hour. Now it's wee papa, wee papa, wee. I wanted to shove my granddaughter. I had my hand on her back. I was going to shove her so she could feel the exhilaration of just zipping down the slide. And as soon as I put my hand on her back, I felt 6 iPhones on my back. Yeah. Go ahead, old man. Yeah, we're going Facebook Live right now. Go ahead. You sicko. You realize she could scrape her knee. The humanity. Didn't matter if we scraped ourselves, we had Bactine. Yeah. And mercurochrome, remember that? Yeah, mercurochrome and Bactine, baby. What a cocktail. I don't know. America, we didn't have car seats. We didn't have seat belts. I walked the back seat of my mother's car. She'd be driving down the road. I'd 2, 3 years old, just walking the back seat. Talk about a free-range kid. That's me, boy. Sure, every now and then she'd hit the brakes. I'd fly up into the front seat. So she'd toss me back like a trout. What are you doing up here? Now I got to strap my granddaughter in like a NASCAR driver to go to the mini mart. I don't even know what age you could take her out. She's 53 pounds. I'm getting a hernia hauling her in and out of the car. 7, 8, 18. Here's your high school diploma. You get to ride home like a big girl today, you know? So Tammy goes online, because I want to know what age you could take them out of the car seat or booster, whatever it is. And the government recommendation, which by the way is the government's way of saying it's going to be a law soon. It's the recommendation. 4'9". 4'9". Are you kidding me? This means the entire female Olympic gymnastic team has to ride on a booster seat to go win their gold medal. It's nuts. Leave us alone. And I get pulled over by the police because I don't have a sunshade on my granddaughter. Because I'm not going to write you up. First thing he says is, you're aware that you should have a sunshade on her, you know? And I go, no, I wasn't. And I asked him, I said, you're really kidding, right? He said, you really wanted to pull me over to check and see if I had cocaine in the car, right? You were just looking for some kind of probable cause. You know? He goes, do I look like I'm kidding? You know. I couldn't believe it. I went home and told Tammy, we got to get a sunshade for our granddaughter. Sun. When did sun become evil now? You know what sunscreen was when I was a kid? Dirt. That's what it was. Dirt. The only kids that had to worry about the sun when I was growing up were the redheads, the gingers. Yeah, you'd hear them sizzling like bacon in right field. You just, you know. Yeah, you'd hear this noise. And you'd look, and this poor kid was bubbling, and, you know, it's like, Rusty, get going, man, get off the field. He's running like a leper, pieces of him falling off, you know. We still didn't put sunscreen on him. We gave him a snow cone. Put it on, you'll be fine. You know. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. They took lawn darts away from us because apparently we can't be trusted with lawn darts as a people. We can be trusted to elect the leader of the free world, but we can't be trusted with lawn darts in our house. I mean, it's a stupid game anyway, but they took them away because people were getting stuck with the lawn dart. Well, we were throwing them at each other. I mean, it's just, the game was stupid, so what else would you do? Nobody in this litigious culture, in their company, in their R&D department, legal department, nobody saw that one coming down the pike. You know, just sitting around a boardroom one day, yeah, I'm just spitballing here, but won't they throw these darts at each other? No, we're going to put a plastic ring in the box, and they'll know that's the target. You know, why would anyone throw at a plastic ring when your brother's standing 20 feet away? And only in America would the lawyers go after the dart manufacturer, as if the darts were actually malfunctioning. You know, no, we were aiming at each other. No, I could see if you're in the backyard and it hits a guy in the couch in the living room, you know, the dart just takes off, you know, sails through the door, you know. No, they were functioning fine. Kills me. BB guns, how long did we have BB guns, guys, before one of your friends said, we could shoot each other? Minute and a half? It's different when you have your own children. It really is. When my oldest son was 12, he says, I'd like a BB gun. Can I get a BB gun? I said, no. He goes, why not? I said, because your 8-year-old brother can't, he's too little to defend himself. And he didn't even get that, so I said, when he gets to be 12 or 13, then you both can have BB guns and you both can go at it. I don't care, but right now he's too young to defend himself. So he goes to my father, his grandfather. Of course, they try to circumvent you, and he goes, and my dad calls me up in the middle of the night. He goes, I'm going to buy Aaron a BB gun for Christmas. And I said, well, then get his brother a set of glass eyes. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, he's going to shoot his brother. And then my 12-year-old comes in, and he goes, I promise if I get a BB gun, I will not shoot my brother. I said, buddy, if I bought you a BB gun and you never shot your little brother, I would haul you in for a psychiatric evaluation. I shot my sister so many times, she told her husband her cellulite was BB wounds from me. Yeah. And he believed her, so who's the moron in this conversation? Look what you did to her thigh. You know. I just wish they'd teach this generation basic math. You know, I don't have a lot going on intellectually. I'm not a bright guy. I'm really not. But I can make change, you know. That's all I ask. You go to McDonald's. Now I do it on purpose. I just give them 3 pennies. I don't care if it rounds up, evens out. I just give them 3 cents just to watch the apoplectic convulsion that goes on. You know. Is there a homeschooled kid nearby? Homeschool? How do they do it? I read where they don't even grade English papers in public school with red ink because apparently the sight of red ink is too traumatic for our children. I know. I don't know about you geniuses, but when my English papers came back, they looked a lot like OJ's driveway, all right? What? Too soon? My father would pick up my paper and go, wow, this is your native tongue, you moron. I had trouble with punctuation. I still have trouble. I don't understand punctuation. Never have, never will. I don't care anymore. When I write articles or I'm in the process of writing a book now, I don't use spell check. I don't use anything until the end. When I get done, I love hitting a button because it lights up like a Christmas tree. I used to call the kids in when I would write something. I go, watch this. Your old man's a moron. Watch this. You know, bing. See what you can do about it. I go, that's what they have editors for. Woohoo! You know? But in high school, I would hyphenate. I'd write longhand, hyphen, longhand, hyphen, longhand, hyphen, 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 hyphen. And I realized it was costing me in my grade. So I started putting a bunch of periods and commas at the bottom of the page with a note to the teacher. If you could just put those where those belong, hyphen. That would really help me out, hyphen. And I sailed through high school with a 2.0, baby. 2.0, right smack dab in the middle of the pack. 2.0. Higher learning is not for everybody. Someone needs to tell the federal government. But I will tell you this, if Bernie gets elected prez and makes college free for everyone, I'm going. That's right. Because the last time I checked, I am part of everyone. And I'm gonna just, kids will be looking at me at UCLA. Hey, what are you doing here, old man? It's free! Flunk every class, tell every professor, I'll see you next semester. Still free, right? Not based on merit, is it? Woohoo! Giving 330 million people access to free anything. What could possibly go wrong with that? I don't know. I'm a 2.0 guy. I'll leave it to the geniuses. Put it all together. Anyway. My wife and I, we are a praying couple. We are. We believe in God. We believe in prayer. We believe in a God who answers prayers. So when we were having children, we prayed for patience. We did. We knew we would love them. We just didn't know how long that would take. And just, wanted to make sure we got on the same page with the Creator. God answered our prayer for patience with 2 ADHD boys. And kindergarten called to tell us they thought our oldest might be a little hyperactive. And I was thinking, is that news to anybody? I mean, again, I don't know if, they got a name for it. I guess it's nice. But the kids have been kids forever. But anyway, they said, we have a problem. That's how they started the conversation. We have a problem. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, we don't. But okay, I'll play along. What's our problem? And they said, well, he won't sit in his chair. He's disrupting the class. And I said, oh. Well, open the back door, let him loose. That's what we do at home. Yeah, he'll come back when he's tired. He always does. And you'll want to check his hair for ticks because he crawls through the shrubbery quite a bit. And we lived in a tick-infested area. And but it's kindergarten. I was thinking, what's he going to miss? Coloring? I thought he'd catch up. You hope he catches up. You'd hate to get a call from college 19 years later or whatever, I just lost my scholarship. I can't keep the color in the lines. I don't know. 3rd grade, they made us go into a psychologist. They said, again, you need to get your boy diagnosed. And they wanted to put him on Ritalin. And we didn't know what that was. It was the early 90s. I think there was one book out that I found, Driven to Distraction, on ADD. And all the information we could find on Ritalin, because the internet hadn't been, Al Gore hadn't invented it yet. And it was years before we would get that. So I went to the library to do research on Ritalin, and most of the information I could find was written by the companies that manufactured it. So call me skeptic. We passed. I just told them, no, we're not going to put him on stuff. There wasn't enough research at that time, and we'll let him go through school the way he was designed. And we did. 9 years later, the U.S. Army gave my boy an M16. I love this country. Thank you. He did. He served 6 years with the 101st Airborne, my boy did, and we're proud of his service. Thank you. Thank you. We pick him up. At Fort Campbell, after 6 years, we live in Nashville, hour-and-a-half drive. So as we're driving, I ask my son, who's in the back seat, I go, now that you're out of the military, you've had 6 years to think about this question. What are your plans? He said, well, I was kind of hoping I could move back home for a little while I reacclimate to civilian life. I said, so you really haven't given it any thought, have you? He goes, no. I go, well, okay, you've earned it. I said, you come home. You take all the time you need. Well, 19 months into the acclimating process, Tammy grabs me in the hall. How long does it take? I go, I don't know. I never had to acclimate. She says, go downstairs and talk to him. And I said, I will. I understood. I went downstairs. I politely asked my 26-year-old son, pause your video game. I need your full attention on this one. Yeah. Mom and I were curious. Did the Army teach you a skill, something you can use to get employment and move out? I want you to understand something. Your mother and I, we want grandchildren. We have earned grandchildren. And we worship a God of miracles. We do. We believe in miracles. And we believe out of 3 billion women on this planet, God has chosen one of those women for you to breed with. We just don't think she's going to fall through our vent and land in your lap down here in the basement. So did you learn anything? He thought about it. He said, you know, I could kill you 6 ways with a popsicle stick. Really? You enjoy that video game, my man, and let your mom and I know when you're done acclimating. So I run upstairs, and Tammy says, what'd he say? He said, get rid of those fudgesicles because he's going on a diet. It was the food. I was ready to build a trough and fill it with mac and cheese on a Monday. He can feed himself like a cat all week. I don't care. Tammy and I started hiding food in our bedroom to keep it from our son. Honestly, how pathetic is that? We had a stash of brownies and muffins in the nightstand next to our bed. So we'd get all excited, run down the hall late at night, holding hands, lock the bedroom door, you know. I'm sure he thought we were doing something else. We were just under those covers eating brownies and laughing at him. You hit 50, your life gets pathetic. It really does. The brownies are here. Woo-hoo! Hold hands. Lock the door. He's going to smell these and want one. They're ours. They're all ours. Truth be known, that's all we do in our bed anymore anyway is eat. We bought a Select Comfort bed. Don't know if you're familiar with that, but each side of the bed has a dial and a number. So you can dial up the comfort of your mattress. The higher the number, the harder the mattress. My number is 100 marble slab. Tammy's number is 2. First night she laid on her side of the bed, she disappeared from my view. Mattress wrapped around her like a flour tortilla. The poor thing was sleeping in a fajita on her side of the bed. So I roll over to kiss her goodnight. I fall into a ditch. I can't get out. I'm laying there. It's like, get off of me. What are you doing over here? Get off of me. By the way, if you're a newlywed, that's the sound of 33 years of love right there. You're on my hair, you haven't shaved, your breath smells, stop touching me. And don't get me wrong, you know, we still try to get intimate. We just save it for special holidays now. Turns out Tammy's favorite is leap year. Yeah. Didn't even know that was an actual holiday. I really didn't. All I know is I'll dim the lights and put on some Sade, and she'll go, wow. Has it been 4 years already, Tiger? All right, I'll get the good flannel on tonight, Jeff. Come on. No, we're married. We try. We do. We just know how much time and energy it takes. And we prefer to watch Law and Order. You know? There's nights, I mean this, I'm being honest now, that there are nights after 30 plus years of marriage that she'll walk in a room and my heart will go, oh, I mean it, I'll gasp at how beautiful she is to me. I mean that. Not every night, I'm not a freak, you know. But just every now and then, it's like, oh man, wow. And then I'll think about, you know, yeah. It's just a lot of work. You know, yeah. Yeah, you see it in the movies where they just like rip each other's clothes. They can't get to the bed fast enough. And that ain't 60 years old. One night I was leaning over to kiss her and we came up short. Like that short, and I'm like, and both of us are making noises like, ow, and I finally just went, yeah, I just can't get there, baby. I'm trying. You know? But that's the sound of 60 years. Oh, God. She falls asleep at 9:15. That's one of the things. You could set a watch. She does crochet, my wife, every night. That's why we can't watch movies with subtitles, because she's working, and she does elaborate things. If you see her tonight, whatever she's wearing, she made. It's beautiful. She does amazing work with crochet, very elaborate. So anyway, she hears the movies we watch or whatever. But anyway, about 9:10, I'll look at her. It's like a gas leak goes off. She just. You know, and I go, babe, maybe you should go to bed. I'm fine. What are you, a 5-year-old? Quit fighting it. Just go to bed. Will you be quiet? This is my favorite show. I'm just going to do 2 more rows, just 2 more rows. And always, she gets about halfway through the second row, and then she ends up taking it all apart because there's a mess up. So I watch her over there doing this, and then. She's seen the beginning of every Law and Order for 5 years. And so now they come on and rerun, and she yells at me, I've seen this one. Well, give it 20 minutes. Really? Her favorite show now is Dateline. It's scary. I don't know if anybody's watched Dateline. We just started watching Dateline about a year ago, and it's been on apparently 20 seasons. I don't ever know. But all I know is this, the entire Dateline franchise is built on the foundation of spouses killing each other. I mean it. Apparently no shortage of material in the good old US of A. Men, I'm talking to the men now. Men, you watch 5 Datelines with your wife. You'll look her right in the eye. We doing all right, you and me? Yeah. It's scary. Nobody ever sees it coming. Of course, the friends, neighbors, they loved each other. Well, apparently not. They went to St. Croix, only one of them came back. That happens a lot. They go on vacation together, their dream vacation, only one of them's coming back. Yeah. So about in the middle of all this, Tammy says, I'd really like to go to St. John's. I go, I'm not going anywhere near water with you. From here on out, every vacation, the middle of Iowa. That's it. I'll tell you how twisted Tammy is. This is true. I'm walking down the hall. We have a hallway, and then there's a door that opens that leads to our basement downstairs. So anyway, I'm walking down the hall. We have a ranch house with a basement. So anyway, we're walking down the hallway. Now she's standing with her back to the basement stairs this way, and the door is open. So it's just straight down to the stairs. She's got her back to it. And I'm walking by, and I go, oh, and I lean over, and I give her a kiss. And then our eyes meet, and there's that 2 seconds, and then she looks at me, and she goes, 1 push. What? She goes, 1 push, and you're out. I go, no, my luck, you'd live. And then, it's a joke, man. But that's what I said to her. You'd live, and then from then on, I'd have to pay the price. Could you pass the salt? Oh, I could have before you shoved me down the stairs. But that's what she said to me, 1 push. That's how sick she is. She's twisted. No, we're fine. Well, We are. Not everybody is. I read where a woman stabbed her husband while he was sleeping. That's not the joke. I'm thinking as I read in the article, a few unresolved conflicts, some resentments that maybe got allowed to fester too long, you know. But I'm reading the article because she waited till he went to sleep and then she killed him. So I'm thinking I'm a husband and I like to sleep. That's at least two things I have in common with this guy. I want to find out why she did what she did. I want to know what the motive is. You know what her defense was? She had no other choice. That was her defense. I had no other choice, which means she had a list of things that she kept crossing off over time. Can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. And on the list was, well, stab him while he's sleeping. That's it. Ladies, if you're at that point in your relationship where stabbing your man is on a list, you need to talk to the man. I don't care what he says. I'm busy. Oh, no, I think you're going to want to hear this one. I'm thinking of putting a steak knife in your skull. He'll put the golf clubs right down, get a cup of chair, pull up get a cup of Joe. Hey, what else is going on in that pretty little head of yours? Now that I'm reflecting, I've been neglectful the last few years. What do you say you and I do something fun together this weekend? We'll go antiquing together. And tomorrow I'll have some root canal and a spinal tap. That'll complete the weekend for me. Guy named Dr. Gary Chapman wrote a book called 5 Love Languages. According to Dr. Gary Chapman, there are 5 languages of love between a man and wife. Tam and I read that book twice in 1 week because we didn't see our love language in there. Apparently, bitterness, sarcasm, not part of Dr. Gary Chapman's love life. See, my parents, they had their own love language. They had their own love language. 57 years of marriage before my mother passed away. That last Christmas that we spent together, we knew would be my mother's last. She was going through ovarian cancer. We knew she wouldn't make another year, and this was a special Christmas. We were all together, sitting in the room. My mom, she did crochet. She's sitting in her chair doing her crochet. My dad's in his chair, and my father starts serenading my mother in their special love language. 57 years of marriage. My mom didn't miss a beat. She puts down the crochet. She leaves the living room. She goes into the kitchen and comes back 15 minutes later with 2 hot dogs and a soda pop and puts them in my father's lap. How cool is that? So that night I'm laying in the fajita with Tammy. And I asked her, did you see that today between my parents, that whole thing? She goes, I did. And I go, you think we'll ever get there, you and me, on that level? Tammy goes, shoot me if we do. You start hawking hairballs at me like that, it's over. That was one of the most vile, disgusting things I've ever witnessed in public. I almost blew my dinner all over our children's head. Wow, I thought it was beautiful. You guys have been great. Oh, I'm trying to read the clock. It is hot. It's hot in here, isn't it? It is. Yeah, I'm sweating, and I don't sweat. That would be. Trust me, you do not. You don't want this unleashed in public. No. But people ask us, ask me, how I met Tam. She was a waitress at a comedy club in Ohio. And I was living out in Los Angeles at the time. And anyway, she had this beautiful laugh. She was in the back of the room. And if you've ever been on stage, you can't really see because of the lights in your eyes. But I heard this laugh in the back of the room that, oddly, I haven't heard tonight. But anyway, I heard this beautiful laugh, and she was a smoker at that time in her life, and I don't care what anybody says, smokers have the best laugh. When you cannot get oxygen into your lungs, that is music to a comic's ear. So I'm on stage and I hear this, and I'm like, wow, I got to meet this one, and And she was just gorgeous, knockout, man, just knocked out. And she had a 2-year-old son when I met her. She was a single mom, and anyway, we struck up a relationship. We ended up getting married and all of that. And I asked her to marry me at Cleveland Baggage Claim. Well, you don't know. We've only spent an hour together, but romance just oozes out of every pore in my body. I did. I was flying from LA to Cleveland on a red eye. That's where she lived. And about Nebraska, it hit me. I thought, yeah, I think I'll ask her to marry me. And that's all the thought I put into it. I thought this will be, by the way, if you're a young man thinking about it, I don't recommend that. But anyway, that's, I did. I got there and we were waiting for the luggage and I said, I really love you and I love Aaron and, you want to get married? And Tammy goes, what? And I said, you want to get married, you and me? And she goes, oh boy, well, if that's what you want, that's how excited she was at the prospect of spending the rest of her life with me. So we picked up the luggage and we left. And she had no idea the baggage she picked up that day. That's right, baby. Yeah, I was a catch. No, we're still there 33 years later. This month, 33 years, July 26th. And truthfully, I can't imagine my life without her. I really can't. It's we've run the gambit, her and I, and as all marriages do, and we got out the other end of some pretty heavy stuff, and only through God's grace. And it's certainly not perfect by any stretch. She started menopause. I didn't see that coming. There are nights, not every night, but there are nights I do lie in bed and dream about the good old days of PMS. There are weeks that go by, I just can't get our home cold enough for her body. I'm telling you, it's 48 degrees in my bedroom. We got meat hanging off my curtain rods. She walks in and turns on some 64-bladed fan. I had to bolt the furniture to the floor to keep from getting sucked up through the roof. And she stands there. Why is it so hot in here? I can't see her because of the fog that's coming out of her mouth. And then she wakes me up to feel her night sweats. Is that even necessary? I'm sound asleep. She zips my parka open while I'm laying there. Wake up, Jeffrey, feel this. It's disgusting. Look at me, I'm just sitting here. There's like a furnace in me or something. You're lucky you don't have to go through this. I wouldn't if you quit waking me up. I could sleep right through it. Told my sons, Mom's going through some serious stuff. Like what, remember those nights you didn't do your homework? She'd get mad and yell at you. She goes, I remember that. Be a little different now. She might be crying and then stab you. So you see Mom sweating, move all the sharp objects out of reach. And I knew it got bad. One night I wake up to this noise, and if you've ever been woken up in you have, and it's dark, kind of dark in the room, and you're reorienting yourself, and you're getting your eyes, and all I can hear is this noise, and it's her. She's in the middle of the room doing something, and I finally said, babe, what are you doing? And it turns out she was cutting the bottom of her flannel pajamas off her legs because they were sticking to her legs. And she says, if I ever meet the man that invented this material, I'm going to stab him with my scissors. And that's when I told my sons, Mom's going through some serious stuff here. So just give her some space. Well, you guys have been great. I want to mention something. I'm going to be at the Irvine Improv tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, because that's as late as I can stay awake. No, that's basically when a Christian clean comic calls a comedy club, they go, all right, we'll give you 5 o'clock on a Sunday, and see what you can do with it. So if you have friends that you think might enjoy what I do, please, it would help out if you call them up and send them over there. They have good food, and it'll be pretty much the same show you saw tonight, so you probably don't want to go. But if you did enjoy it, please, it would really help out if you Facebook some of your friends and try to fill that place up, because it was interesting when I have not worked clubs in 20 years just because I couldn't bring my audience in. And I realized at one point I was probably in my 40s, and I looked out at the crowd one night, and I was the only one in the room that got older in 20 years. The audience was pretty much the same age as they were when I started in my 20s. So I just dropped them, and I just got on my knees and I said to God, if you could, find other places to work. And I started working churches and corporate shows and things like that. But I've always really loved the comedy club. I love clubs. Heck, I did them for 20 years. I did 200 days a year for 20 years. And anyway, when I had a dry bar video come out, and it went viral, and all of a sudden, people started reaching out to us, and I said to my manager, you think we can go into clubs and bring people in and draw them in? And what I liked about it was the fact that there are Christians who have friends that won't come into a place like this, or they won't go into a church to see a comedy show, but they will go out there, and I'll get a chance in the heartbeat of what I do to at least mention my faith. I'm not afraid to do that in a comedy club. And if anybody complains, my attitude is, well, you can come back 51 other weeks and hear the blasphemy, So I think I could take one night and talk positively about Jesus. And it's not and it's not a message. It's not a message, but I'm not afraid to at least take a minute or two at the end of my set and give God all the glory. But anyway, like I said, if you have some friends that would be willing to come out to the Irvine Improv, please, it would help out if we can put some bodies in the seats and prove to them that clean will draw and bring people in. So, and then one last thing, people ask me after the show a lot, is your wife aware? Well, she's here tonight, and she loves it when people come over and grab her by the lapel and don't you, baby? It must be so much fun being married to a comedian. Yeah, especially when he's in the fetal position in the middle of the living room. Just go, where's all this anxiety coming from? But I'll give you this. I'll leave you with this. This is Tammy's idea of funny. And again, I'm in my chair. You have a chair at home, don't you? It's your chair, right, sir? Darn right you have a chair, because you're a man. That's your throne. If you ever went missing, you have two chairs. You're the first one. I now have a goal. I want two. I don't know why. I can only sit my rear end in one. But God bless you for having. Pardon? One's a naked chair. No, that's just in the naked room. Yeah. Yeah. We don't have any furniture in there. So anyway, I'm in my chair. Now Tammy comes up out of the blue, clear blue, just starts rubbing me like that. She's got her arms around me. She's nibbling on my ear and on my neck. And of course I'm thinking, is it February 29th? It was a few minutes between, at that time we were married 20 plus years, and it was a few minutes of just really nice, tender stuff between a man and wife. And then at some point she just kisses the top of my head and she hugs me and she says to me, I love you, Jeffrey, so much. I said, I love you too, baby, and she walks away. Now I'm sitting in my chair, I'm basking in the warmth. It was a warm, nice moment, it really was. And I'm thinking, babe, that was really nice. And she was in the kitchen doing something, and every now and then I go, Tammy, thank you, that was really sweet, babe. And she goes, yeah, it was nice. I love you. I love you too. And 15, 20 minutes of just this kind of cooing going on between the two of us. And then my son comes walking and he goes, hey, Dad, who drew that big smiley face on your bald spot? Yeah. So what I thought was fingernails was a Sharpie. She was back there scratching artwork on my dome. So don't feel sorry for her. She's sick and she's twisted. You guys have been great. God bless you. And thank you so much for coming out. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Jeff Allen, everybody. Hey, can you bring up the house lights, Marisa? Hey, thanks for coming. You guys are leaving already? Show's not over yet. Where are you going? Hey, thanks for coming out tonight. By the way, Jeff is going to be at the Improv tomorrow, as he said. And as you know, we've had several times here, Robert G. Lee is going to be opening for him. So get out and support him tomorrow night. That'd be great. 5 o'clock tomorrow at the Irvine Improv. Hey, don't forget Gary Chapman's going to be here on August 17th. And yeah, oh, I just had one question. How many people here attend the church here, Mount of Olives Church? Anybody here? 1, 2, 3? Oh, great. Wonderful. Yeah, I just wanted to get, there's another one right there, 4. Hey, thanks for coming out. Please don't forget to donate. There's donation boxes out there. And remember, God says in his word that, remember the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not harm you, to give you a hope and a future. And that's God's promise to you. And if you don't know that promise tonight, and you don't know the Savior, come and talk to me. I'd love to talk to you about what it means to be a Christian and have a relationship with Christ. God bless you, folks. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Ashamed of playing a fool, but one thing can lead to another. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Whoa.